I never thought my life would change because of an antique microscope. The morning started with another crisis at Davis Pharmaceuticals, our family's century-old company. The autumn breeze carried a chill that matched the cold reality of our financial situation. The numbers don't lie, Marina. My brother James slid the financial report across my desk. We're 3 months away from complete bankruptcy. I pushed my black hair away from my face, my blue eyes scanning the depressing figures. The laboratory had been my sanctuary for 15 years, but now even my research couldn't shield me from our corporate reality. The board is meeting this afternoon. James's voice carried that tone I despised. They have a solution. Let me guess. Another brilliant cost-cutting measure? Better. A merger. He leaned forward. With Coleman Biotech. I nearly dropped my coffee mug. Coleman Biotech, our biggest competitor, had been trying to acquire us for years. You can't be serious. Their CEO is willing to make it work. Through a more personal arrangement. The implication hit me like a bucket of ice water. An arranged marriage? What century are we living in? It's just business, Marina. Think about our employees, our legacy. I stood up, needing to escape. I need some air. The local flea market seemed like a good distraction. I often found vintage lab equipment there, pieces that reminded me why I fell in love with science. That's when I saw it. A brass microscope from the 1920s, perfectly preserved. Beautiful, isn't it? I turned to find myself staring into the most striking green eyes I'd ever seen. The blonde woman smiled, her artist's smock splattered with paint. The craftsmanship is incredible. I reached for the microscope, but she already had her hand on it. Are you interested in antique scientific instruments? Her voice carried a hint of playfulness. I'm a molecular biologist. This would be perfect for my collection. What a coincidence. I've been looking for something exactly like this for my next art series. We both held onto the microscope, neither wanting to let go. The vendor approached with an apologetic look. Ladies, I should mention someone already paid for it. The blonde's smile widened. That would be me. I'm Bianca. My heart sank, but something about her expression intrigued me. She studied me with those mesmerizing green eyes, then added, but perhaps we could work something out. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. The board meeting. Reality came crashing back. I have to go. I turned to leave, but Bianca caught my arm. Wait. Take my card. Maybe we can discuss that microscope over coffee? I accepted her business card, noting the paint smudges on the corners. Bianca Coleman, artist. The surname didn't register then. I was too distracted by her smile, the way her hair caught the sunlight. Walking into the board meeting, I clutched her card like a lifeline. The old men in suits droned on about marriage contracts and merger terms, but my mind kept drifting to green eyes and paint-stained fingers. I didn't know it then, but that antique microscope would end up being worth far more than its price tag. It would become the lens through which I'd view everything that followed, every choice, every consequence, every moment of truth. James caught me after the meeting. The Coleman deal is our only option, Marina. I fingered Bianca's card in my pocket. Maybe not, I said, having no idea how right I was. Back in my lab, I couldn't focus on my protein analysis. The microscope incident kept playing in my mind. I finally gave in and Googled Bianca Coleman, my screen filled with images of vibrant abstract paintings and gallery openings. You should see this. My research assistant Sarah dropped a glossy invitation on my desk. Just came for you. The elegant card featured a swirling design that looked suspiciously like cellular structures. The Intersection of Science and Art by Bianca Coleman. Opening night at the Vista Gallery. Somebody's got an admirer. Sarah smirked. The courier said it was hand-delivered. I traced the embossed letters, remembering those green eyes. A handwritten note fell from the envelope. Still interested in that microscope? Openings tonight at 8. The gallery buzzed with Chula Vista's art crowd when I arrived. I felt out of place in my work clothes, but then I saw her. Bianca wore a black dress that made her look like she'd stepped out of a classic film. You came. She handed me a glass of wine. I was worried you might be too busy saving the world in your lab. More like drowning in corporate drama. I studied the painting behind her. Is that a cell membrane? Inspired by my father's old medical textbooks. She guided me through the gallery. Science and art aren't so different. We both search for truth in patterns. Each painting captured scientific principles in explosive color. DNA helixes became dancing ribbons. Molecular bonds transformed into passionate embraces. The microscope that brought us together inspired this series. Bianca stopped at the centerpiece. I've always been fascinated by how scientists see the world. It's beautiful. I meant both the art and the artist. You understand the poetry in science. We ended up on the gallery's rooftop terrace, the city lights twinkling below. The wine had loosened something between us. Tell me about your research. She sat closer than necessary. Molecular biology is my escape. In the lab, everything makes sense. I hesitated. Unlike my family's company politics. The arranged merger? Her question caught me off guard. How did you? News travels fast in business circles. She touched my hand. Sounds complicated. Everything's complicated right now. I didn't pull away. Sometimes complications lead to beautiful results. She nodded toward her paintings, like art from science. The night air carried the scent of her perfume. Our fingers remained intertwined as we talked about everything and nothing. She told me about growing up with art, her struggles to be taken seriously. Traditional galleries called my work too scientific. She laughed. Scientists said it was too artistic. Their loss. I squeezed her hand. They missed the connection. Speaking of connections. She turned to face me. That microscope you wanted? It's yours. I couldn't. Consider it a collaboration. You inspire more art, I learn more science. The way she looked at me made my heart race, but a question nagged. Why me? Because you saw the beauty in that old microscope, just like I see the beauty in. Her phone buzzed, breaking the moment. Her expression changed reading the message. Everything okay? Just business. She stood abruptly. I should check on my guests. I watched her disappear downstairs, wondering what had shifted. Sarah's text brought reality crashing back. Board wants to finalize merger details tomorrow. Looking at Bianca's paintings, I realized I'd forgotten about the company crisis for hours. Something about her made everything else fade away. But as I left the gallery, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something important. The merger, Bianca's sudden shift, the timing of it all. Life had taught me that nothing was truly random in the world of molecules or business. Every reaction had its catalyst, every effect, its cause. I just didn't know yet how deep those connections would go. The next morning brought a revelation that shook my world. I was reviewing potential merger partners when I saw it. Coleman Biotech's board of directors. There, listed as creative director, was Bianca Coleman. My coffee grew cold as I dug deeper. The Coleman family owned both the biotech company and several art galleries. The microscope, the gallery invitation, all of it suddenly felt calculated. Marina, emergency board meeting. James burst into my lab. Coleman Biotech's representatives are here. The conference room felt suffocating. Men in expensive suits droned about merger terms. Then she walked in. Bianca, trading her artist's clothes for a sharp business suit. Our eyes met across the table, her usual warmth replaced by professional detachment. As creative director, she presented, I ensure our company maintains its innovative edge. My hands clenched under the table. Every smile, every touch at the gallery, had it all been strategic? The marriage arrangement remains our preferred option, the Coleman CEO announced. I couldn't breathe. Excusing myself, I fled to my lab. The antique microscope sat on my desk, now feeling like a Trojan horse. Hours later, working late, I heard familiar footsteps. You could have told me. I didn't look up from my microscope. Would you have given me a chance if you knew? Bianca's voice was soft. Was any of it real? I never lied about who I am. She moved closer. Art and science are my passions, just with a hidden agenda. The merger was my father's plan. She touched my shoulder. The gallery, the microscope, that was all me. I finally looked at her. The professional facade had cracked, revealing the artist I'd met at the flea market. I fought against the marriage arrangement. Her eyes held mine. There are better ways to merge companies. Like seducing the competition? The words came out bitter. Like falling for someone unexpected. She gestured to my research. Tell me about what you're working on. Despite my anger, I found myself explaining my latest experiment. She listened intently, asking questions that showed genuine understanding. Your work could revolutionize drug delivery systems. She studied my notes. Both companies could benefit. Without marriage contracts? Without any contracts. She stepped closer. Just collaboration. The lab's soft humming filled our silence. Outside, the city lights painted shadows across her face. I should have told you sooner. Her fingers brushed mine. But I was afraid. Of what? Of this feeling being real. The air between us crackled with tension. My anger melted against my will. Show me your true self, I challenged. No business, no family obligations. She reached for my lab coat lapels, pulling me closer, her perfume mixed with the sterile lab air. I'm showing you now. Her whispers sent shivers down my spine. The kiss was inevitable, like a chemical reaction reaching its activation energy. Her lips were soft, tasting of coffee and possibilities. Reality crashed back as my phone buzzed. James's message, board needs marriage contract signed tomorrow. Bianca stepped back, her professional mask slipping back into place, but her eyes told a different story. We need to find another way. She straightened her suit. Both companies can survive without destroying ourselves. I touched my lips, still feeling her kiss. Why should I trust you now? Because I'm done playing roles. She headed for the door. Check your company's research archives from 1995. You'll understand. She left me alone in the lab, surrounded by questions. The microscope caught the moonlight, reminding me of where this all began. Tomorrow, I'd have to choose between family obligation and this dangerous attraction. But tonight, in my quiet lab, I admitted to myself that I was already falling. For an artist who saw beauty in science, for a businesswoman who chose truth over tradition. For Bianca Coleman, in all her complicated glory. The real experiment was just beginning. Following Bianca's cryptic message, I spent the night diving into old research files. At 3 a.m., I found it. A joint research project between Davis and Coleman from 1995. Our companies had once been partners, not rivals. The breakthrough hit me during my morning experiment. The protein sequence I'd been studying showed remarkable binding properties. This could revolutionize drug delivery systems. Dr. Davis, your brother's looking for you. Sarah's voice carried warning. And the Coleman CEO sent another contract draft. I ignored both messages, focused on my discovery. The data confirmed what I'd suspected. This could save both companies without any arranged marriages. My phone lit up with Bianca's text. Sunset at Marina Dock, need to show you something. The setting sun painted the water gold when I arrived. Bianca sat sketching, her hair catching the fading light. I found the research files. I sat beside her. We were partners once. Until ego and greed drove our fathers apart. She showed me her sketch. It was us, rendered in scientific symbols and artistic swirls. I made a breakthrough today. I explained my research, watching her eyes light up with understanding. A partnership like the old days. She grasped the implications. No marriage required. Exactly. But the board. Damn the board. Her intensity surprised me. We can prove this works. She was close enough that I could count her eyelashes. The marina breeze carried salt and possibility. I have a confession. She touched my cheek. I've been painting you. My heart raced. What? Come see. Her studio occupied a converted warehouse. Canvases lined the walls, each showing scientific processes interpreted through art. And there, in the center, was me. She'd captured me in my lab, surrounded by swirling colors representing molecular structures. But it was my expression she'd caught perfectly. The joy of discovery. This is how I see you. Her voice was soft, brilliant, passionate, unstoppable. Bianca. She closed the distance between us. This kiss was different from our first, slower, deeper, full of promise. A door slammed downstairs. We jumped apart. The night security guard, she whispered. We should go. But leaving meant returning to reality, to boards and contracts and expectations. I'm presenting my research tomorrow, I said as we walked to my car. Come watch. They won't like our alternative solution. They don't have to like it, they just have to see it works. She pressed me against my car, stealing one more kiss. You're changing everything. We're changing everything. Driving home, my lips still tingling, I realized the magnitude of tomorrow's presentation. It wasn't just about science anymore. It was about choosing our own path. My phone buzzed with James's message. Final marriage contract meeting tomorrow. Don't be late. Another text arrived from Bianca. Whatever happens tomorrow, remember tonight. The sunset's glow had faded, but I felt illuminated from within. Tomorrow would change everything. My research could save both companies. But more importantly, it could save us from living lies. In my lab, I prepared my presentation. The antique microscope watched like a silent witness. Through its lens, I'd first seen Bianca clearly. Now it would help me show others a new way forward. Science had always been my constant. Now art, in the form of a passionate blonde painter, had colored my world in unexpected ways. Tomorrow would prove if our elements could truly bond. I touched my lips, still feeling her kiss, and smiled. Some experiments were worth every risk. James cornered me before my presentation, his face stormy with barely contained anger. I saw you at the marina. His words cut through the morning air. With Bianca Coleman. My heart stopped, but years of scientific training kept my voice steady. Discussing business strategies. Don't insult my intelligence, Marina. He lowered his voice. I saw the kiss. The laboratory suddenly felt too small. Through the glass walls, I could see board members gathering for my presentation. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You're jeopardizing everything. James ran his hand through his hair. What do you think the board will do when they find out? Are you threatening me? I'm protecting our family legacy. He placed the marriage contract on my desk. Sign it. End this, whatever it is. You mean, end who I am. The words came out stronger than I expected. The board meeting starts in 10 minutes. He headed for the door. Make the right choice. My hands shook as I prepared my slides. The breakthrough research data glowed on my screen, offering a different kind of salvation. Sarah poked her head in. Bianca Coleman just arrived. Want me to delay the start? No. Let's do this. The boardroom fell silent as I began my presentation. Bianca sat in the back, her presence both comforting and terrifying. Ladies and gentlemen, I present a new path forward. My voice grew stronger with each word. A revolutionary drug delivery system. Numbers and graphs flowed across the screen. I explained how combining our company's expertise could create something greater than marriage could ever achieve. This is all very impressive. The Coleman CEO interrupted. But we have a signed agreement. Not from me. I met Bianca's eyes across the room. James stood up. My sister is experiencing some personal confusion. The only confusion, Bianca's voice rang clear, is why we're forcing outdated solutions. The room erupted in murmurs. James's face darkened. Should I tell them about your personal investment in this alternative? He challenged Bianca. Tell them. I surprised myself. Tell them how two scientists found a better way. Two scientists? James laughed bitterly. Is that what you're calling it? Bianca moved to stand beside me. We're calling it progress. The board members exchanged glances. My research data still glowed on the screen, undeniable in its potential. This is about more than marriage contracts. My voice didn't waver. It's about innovation. It's about truth, Bianca added. James slammed his hand on the table. The truth? Fine. My sister and Ms. Coleman are brilliant. The Coleman CEO cut in, studying the data. These results are remarkable. The tension crackled as old guards faced new possibilities. I felt Bianca's hand brush mine under the table. We need time to review this alternative proposal. The board chairman finally spoke. Outside the boardroom, Bianca pulled me into an empty office. Her kiss tasted of relief and defiance. You were amazing, she whispered against my lips. We're not safe yet, I warned, though I couldn't stop smiling. We never will be if we keep hiding. Her green eyes held mine. No more secrets. James found us later in my lab. His expression had shifted from anger to resignation. The board is intrigued by your research, he admitted. But this thing between you two isn't going away. I finished. He studied us for a long moment. You really believe in this partnership? In every way, Bianca answered. The sunset painted my lab in golden hues, reminiscent of that first day at the flea market. The microscope that started everything sat between us, a bridge between art and science, past and future. James sighed. Then you better make it work, both the research and everything else. He left us standing in the lab's fading light. Nothing was resolved, not really. But for the first time, possibility outweighed fear. Bianca squeezed my hand. Ready for whatever comes next? Looking at her, I knew my answer. Some experiments change everything. This one had changed me. The headline blazed across my screen. Davis Pharmaceuticals heiress in scandal with Coleman creative director. Someone had leaked photos of Bianca and me at the marina. The scientific community buzzed with speculation about our research partnership, while gossip columns focused on our personal relationship. Your research got buried under the scandal. Sarah handed me the morning papers. They're calling it a corporate takeover scheme. My phone hadn't stopped ringing. James, board members, reporters, all wanting statements. Only Bianca's messages went unanswered. I needed to think. The lab offered no sanctuary today. Every colleague's glance carried questions. My experiment data sat neglected while headlines screamed for attention. Dr. Davis. My department head appeared. The ethics committee wants to review your research funding. My research stands on its merit. Personal relationships can cloud judgment. His words stung. We need to ensure objectivity. I'd spent 15 years building my reputation. Now they questioned everything. Bianca found me in the lab that evening. Her artist's hands trembled holding the newspaper. My father's furious. She looked exhausted. The board's questioning my position. They're dismantling my research credibility. I couldn't meet her eyes. Everything I've worked for? Don't. She grabbed my hands. Don't let them make you doubt us. It's not about doubt, it's about survival. My computer pinged. Another email from the ethics committee. More questions about research integrity. I won't let them destroy your work. Bianca studied my research notes. We need to prove them wrong. How? They're not seeing the science anymore. Then we make them see. Her eyes lit up. We go public. Full transparency. That's career suicide. No, it's freedom. She pulled up my research data. Show them how our collaboration strengthens both companies. My colleagues started trickling in, drawn by our discussion. Sarah spoke first. We've reviewed your data, Dr. Davis. She gestured to the team. We stand behind your research. One by one, they voiced support. Years of working together had built trust no scandal could break. See? Bianca squeezed my hand. Truth has allies. My phone buzzed. James's message surprised me. Mom would have been proud. Stand your ground. Looking at my team, at Bianca. Decision crystallized. I opened my laptop and began typing. What are you doing? Bianca leaned over my shoulder. Writing our response. No more hiding. The press release was simple. Our research collaboration would revolutionize drug delivery. Personal relationships wouldn't compromise scientific integrity. The board will hate this, Bianca warned. Let them. Science doesn't care about politics. She kissed me then, in front of my entire team. No more shadows. The media explosion was immediate, but this time we controlled the narrative. Science journals picked up our research. Medical forums discussed its potential. Your mother defied the board too. James appeared in my lab later. When she chose research over corporate politics. You knew about Bianca and me from the start? Marina, you light up around her like you do with science. He smiled slightly. Mom would have understood that passion. The scandal headlines gradually shifted. Groundbreaking research partnership replaced corporate scandal. Bianca brought dinner to my lab, refusing to let me work late alone. The gallery wants to host an exhibition. She sketched as we ate. Science and art, breaking boundaries. Professional and personal? All of it. No more divisions. My team had tacked the scandal headlines on the wall, now covered with supportive messages. The antique microscope sat among them, watching. We're changing the narrative. Bianca traced the microscope's brass finish. We're writing our own story. The ethics committee scheduled their final review. The board called for votes on our partnership proposal. But sitting there, sharing takeout with Bianca while my team worked late in solidarity, I realized something. They could question our methods, our relationship, our choices. But they couldn't deny the truth in my data, or in my heart. Science was about discovering truth, no matter how uncomfortable. This experiment in honesty might cost us everything. Or it might change everything. Bianca's new exhibition transformed my research into visual poetry. Giant canvases portrayed molecular bonds as passionate dances, cellular structures as cosmic gardens. "She's managed to make science sexy," Sarah whispered at the preview showing. The gallery hummed with critics, collectors, and curious scientists. My research data, reimagined through Bianca's artistic lens, drew gasps of appreciation. "Your work inspired every piece." Bianca appeared beside me, radiant in a midnight blue dress. The centerpiece captured our journey, the antique microscope, painted in gold and silver, surrounded by swirling representations of my breakthrough research. "You've made the invisible visible." I touched her hand. "Made people see what I see." Art critics mingled with research colleagues, boundaries blurring like Bianca's watercolors. Science and art spoke the same language tonight. "Dr. Davis," a voice interrupted our moment. "The International Science Foundation is impressed." The foundation representative handed me an invitation, a chance to present my research at their annual conference. "This could change everything," I breathed. "It already has." Bianca smiled, pride shining in her eyes. The exhibition attracted unexpected attention. Major medical journals requested interviews. Research grants appeared on my desk. "They're finally seeing the science," Sarah reported. "Not just the scandal. But corporate politics never sleep." That evening, the Coleman board chairman arrived. "Impressive show." He studied Bianca's paintings. "But art doesn't run companies." "No, innovation does." Bianca stood her ground. "Which is exactly what we're offering." He turned to me. "The board questions your objectivity, Dr. Davis. My research data speaks for itself. Data can be interpreted many ways." His smile didn't reach his eyes. The threat hung in the air. They could still destroy both our careers. Later, alone in the gallery, Bianca touched the microscope painting. "Maybe we're being naive," her voice wavered, "thinking they'd accept us." "They don't have to accept us." I pulled her close. "They just need our results." The exhibition continued drawing crowds. Scientists praised its ability to make complex concepts accessible. Art lovers found beauty in molecular structures. But during the charity gala, everything exploded. "This ends now." The Coleman CEO confronted us publicly. "This personal indiscretion has gone too far." Cameras flashed. Guests whispered. Bianca's hand found mine. "Our collaboration benefits both companies." My voice carried across the silent gallery. "Collaboration?" he sneered. "Is that what you call it?" "I call it the future." Bianca stepped forward. "Look around. We're breaking new ground." The room held its breath. Years of corporate tradition faced off against innovation. "You'll both resign," he demanded. "Or we'll bury your research." "No." The word surprised everyone, especially me. "The science is bigger than your threats." Bianca squeezed my hand. "We're bigger than your threats." The gallery erupted in chaos. Reporters pushed forward. Phones recorded everything. But standing there, surrounded by Bianca's art and my science, we found strength. "Your father would be ashamed." The CEO spat at Bianca. "My father taught me to recognize beauty." She gestured to the paintings. "In art, in science, in love." The scandal hit social media instantly. But something unexpected happened. Scientists defended our research. Artists praised our vision. The public embraced our story. Later, watching the sunset through gallery windows, Bianca sketched our confrontation. "Think we'll survive this?" She added colors to capture our defiance. I studied her painting, seeing our truth rendered in bold strokes. "We already have." I kissed her softly. "They can't deny what we've created." The antique microscope gleamed in its display case, witness to another experiment in courage. Tomorrow would bring more battles. But tonight, Surrounded by proof of what happens when science meets art, when truth meets courage, we were unbreakable. Some revolutions start in laboratories, others in art studios. Ours started with a microscope and bloomed into something boundless. The International Science Foundation Conference changed everything. My research presentation drew standing ovations. Leading scientists validated our work. Your drug delivery system could revolutionize treatment protocols. The foundation's director shook my hand. Phenomenal work, Dr. Davis. Watching from the audience, Bianca beamed with pride. She'd spent weeks helping me prepare, turning complex data into compelling visuals. But success breeds enemies. Back home, storm clouds gathered. Hostile takeover. James burst into my lab. Coleman's old guard is moving against us. The timing wasn't coincidental. With my research gaining international recognition, our company's value soared. They're trying to seize control before the breakthrough goes public. Sarah analyzed the reports. Bianca appeared in my lab, face pale. My father's board members are behind this. Can they succeed? I studied the financial projections. Not if we move faster. She pulled out her tablet. Look at these numbers. Together we pored over market data, seeking solutions. The lab became our war room. They're using our relationship against us. Bianca's hands trembled, claiming conflict of interest. Then we use it for us. An idea formed. Your art studio, tonight. Her studio felt different after hours. Canvases captured our journey in vivid colors. What are we doing here? She watched me pace. Making something beautiful. I pulled her close. Like you taught me. The night passed in a blur of passion and planning. Art and science merged as we crafted our defense. Morning found us surrounded by papers and paintings. A new strategy emerged. They expect us to fight separately. I traced her latest sketch. We'll stand together instead. The takeover threats intensified. Stock prices fluctuated wildly. But in Bianca's studio, surrounded by her art, I found clarity. Your research is solid. She massaged my shoulders. They can't discredit the science. Science needs champions. I turned to face her. Art needs defenders. We worked through the weekend. My team ran additional trials. Her artist friends spread support online. The antique microscope watched from its place of honor, where everything began. Remember the flea market? Bianca smiled, painting as I analyzed data. You stole my microscope. I saw something special. She added touches of gold to her canvas. In the microscope. In you. Monday brought the attack. Financial newspapers screamed merger speculation. But we were ready. My enhanced research data proved our company's synergy. Bianca's art series, celebrating scientific innovation, went viral. They're trying to steal your legacy. James warned during emergency meetings. No. I showed him our strategy. They're helping us build a new one. The lab became command central. Scientists and artists united in defense. Look at these results. Sarah pointed to new trials. The delivery system works perfectly. Bianca's latest painting captured the moment. Molecular structures dancing with artistic freedom. Science and art, she explained to reporters. Precision and passion. Why choose? The hostile takeover pushed us closer. Late nights in the lab led to dawn in her studio. They thought they could break us, she whispered one morning. They made us stronger instead. International acclaim grew. Research journals featured my work alongside her art. But corporate wolves circled closer. Board meetings turned hostile. Final warning. The Coleman CEO threatened. Step down or lose everything. Bianca laughed. Actually laughed. We've already gained everything. The microscope caught morning light, turning brass to gold. Some saw an antique instrument, others expensive decor. We saw the beginning of our revolution, where science met art, where two women chose truth over tradition. Tomorrow would bring more battles. But tonight, in her studio's piece, we were winning. Because love, like science, finds a way. And art, like truth, cannot be contained. The rival company struck like a viper. They released doctored research data, suggesting my breakthrough was stolen. They've contacted every major scientific journal. Sarah rushed into my lab, questioning our methods. My phone exploded with messages, colleagues demanding explanations, journals suspending publications. They're trying to destroy your credibility. James paced the lab. And it's working. Bianca appeared, her artist's composure cracking. My father's board is behind this. Years of research, countless late nights, all questioned because of corporate greed. We need a counter strategy. I studied the falsified data. Something they won't expect. Bianca's eyes lit up. What if we show them everything? Complete transparency? The idea was radical. Every test result? Every detail. She squeezed my hand. Truth is our weapon. We worked through the night. My team compiled research records. Bianca documented our collaboration's timeline. Dawn found us exhausted but armed with facts. Look at this. Sarah pointed to overlooked data. Your delivery system has secondary benefits. The discovery energized us. Not just a breakthrough, but multiple applications. Bianca started painting immediately, translating the science into visual impact. People need to see the bigger picture. Her brush moved with purpose. The Coleman CEO called an emergency press conference. Davis Pharmaceuticals faces serious allegations. His words cut deep, ethical violations. But we were ready. While he spoke, we released everything online. Raw data, trial results, development timeline. Bianca's art series went viral, making complex science accessible. The truth about innovation. Her gallery exhibition opened simultaneously. Scientific forums exploded with discussion. Independent researchers validated our work. They didn't expect this. James watched online support grow. Complete transparency. The rival companies scrambled to respond. Their false claims crumbled under scrutiny. Bianca's father finally broke his silence. The board acted without my knowledge. We escaped to her beach house that weekend, needed space to breathe. Remember our first kiss in the lab? She painted the sunset. Seems like years ago. I watched her work. Everything's changed. Not everything. Her brush paused. Some things got stronger. The ocean waves matched our heartbeats, peace and chaos. Monday brought fresh battles. Stock prices swung wildly. But support grew stronger. Scientists worldwide defended our research. Your mother would be proud. James handed me her old research notes. Found her studying similar compounds years ago. Another piece of truth. Bianca's latest painting captured it all. Science and legacy merging. They thought they could silence us. She added finishing touches. They gave us a bigger voice instead. The antique microscope sat between us, where past met future. Some saw controversy, others saw revolution. We saw love transforming everything it touched. Even corporate warfare couldn't dim that truth. Ready for tomorrow? Bianca packed fresh canvases. With you? Always. Science taught me about reactions. Art showed me transformation. Together, they taught us courage. Tomorrow's battles waited. But tonight, watching Bianca paint our story, victory felt certain. Because truth, like love, finds its way. And we had both in abundance. The microscope caught the setting sun, brass glowing like promise. Where science met art, where love met legacy, our revolution continued. Unstoppable now. Because some forces can't be contained. Not by corporate threats, not by societal rules. Just ask any scientist, or artist, or two women who chose truth over fear. Tomorrow would bring more challenges. But tonight, in our shared silence, we were already winning. Because love, like science, knows no bounds. And art, like truth, sets everything free. The waves crashed outside, nature's applause. For two rebels who dared to rewrite the rules of business, of science, of love itself. And isn't that what revolution means? Breaking boundaries, finding truth, creating something beautiful from chaos. Just like we did. Just like we'll keep doing. Together. The board meeting that would decide everything started at dawn. Sunlight streamed through windows as members took their seats. We're voting on the future of both companies, the chairman announced. Choose wisely. My research data projected on screens. Bianca's art series lined the walls. The numbers speak for themselves. I presented confidently. Our collaboration works. Independent analysts confirmed our success. Stock prices stabilized under transparency. Innovation requires courage. Bianca addressed the room. Sometimes tradition needs updating. The Coleman CEO shifted uncomfortably. His false allegations had backfired. The public supports this partnership. James shared media coverage. Science and art unite. Hours of deliberation followed, each board member questioning our vision. How can we trust this isn't personal? Someone challenged. Because science proves it. I displayed new trial results. Because art reveals it. Bianca unveiled her latest work. The painting showed our journey. Microscopic precision meeting creative passion. Sarah burst in with breaking news. International patents approved. Momentum shifted. Hard facts defeated old prejudices. All in favor? The chairman called for votes. Hands raised slowly, then faster. Critical mass reached. Motion carries, he announced. Partnership approved. The room erupted in applause. Years of fighting ended. You did it. James hugged me tight. Mom would be proud. Bianca's father approached us. I was wrong about you both. She grabbed my hand. Victory tasted sweet. Reporters waited outside. Questions flew like arrows. What's next for the partnership? How will this change pharmaceutical research? Can art and science really coexist? Bianca faced the cameras confidently. We're just getting started. Her new exhibition opened that evening. The Science of Innovation. Each piece told our story. Molecular structures dancing with artistic freedom. You've changed everything. Sarah admired the artwork. We changed it together. I watched scientists and artists mingle. The antique microscope held place of honor, where everything began. Remember fighting over this? Bianca touched its brass finish. Best fight I ever lost. I squeezed her hand. Her father joined us. Your mother loved art, Marina. I never knew that. The revelation surprised me. She kept her paintings hidden. He smiled sadly. Times were different. Bianca's latest work captured attention, science and art in perfect balance. Like you two, James observed. Different worlds merging. The international science community celebrated our breakthrough. Art critics praised the innovative collaboration. They finally understand, Bianca whispered. Love finds a way. Corporate politics bowed to progress. Truth defeated tradition. My team expanded research. Her artists explored new concepts. Together we built something revolutionary. Ready for the future? She asked that night. The microscope watched silently. Witness to transformation. Some saw business success, others artistic triumph. We saw love changing everything it touched. Because science teaches us about reactions. Art shows us about beauty. Together they reveal truth. The kind that sets everything free. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight we celebrated victory. Where science met art. Where love rewrote the rules. And isn't that what revolution means? Breaking boundaries. Finding truth. Creating something beautiful from chaos. Just like we did. Just like we'll keep doing. Together. The microscope caught moonlight, brass glowing like promise. Where past met future. Where love met legacy. Our story was just beginning. 1 year after our victory, I stood in the newly merged company's lobby. Our journey displayed in microscopic photos and artistic renderings. Ready for the board meeting? James adjusted his tie. First quarter as CEO. The transition happened smoothly. Old guards retired, fresh perspectives prevailed. The international expansion looks promising. Sarah reviewed data. Research centers worldwide. Bianca's art galleries celebrated science across continents. Innovation through creativity. Remember fighting over a microscope? She joined us, paint on her sleeve. Best mistake I ever made. I touched her hand discreetly. The company flourished under new leadership, science and art in perfect balance. Your mother's research laid the foundation, James reminded me. You built the future. Bianca's latest exhibition prepared to open. The Microscope series. Each piece told our story, from flea market meeting to corporate revolution. They want us to speak at Harvard. Sarah waved an invitation. Science meets art symposium. The antique microscope waited in my office, still watching, still teaching. I have something to show you. Bianca led me to the gallery. Morning light streamed through windows, her new collection breathtaking. But one piece remained covered. Center stage, waiting. Close your eyes, she whispered, excitement in her voice. The sheet whispered falling. Gasps from gathering staff. Open them now. Her hand squeezed mine. There we stood in oils and acrylics, the microscope between us. First meeting captured perfectly. Love at first sight. Marry me. The words surprised us both. Science teaches us about reactions. Art shows us beauty. Love teaches us courage. Yes. No hesitation needed. Always, yes. The microscope witnessed another beginning, where past met future. Some saw a painting, others professional collaboration. We saw love transforming everything it touched. James found us later, understanding in his eyes. Mom would have loved this ending. He hugged us both. Not ending, Bianca corrected. New chapter. The company announced our engagement proudly. Times really had changed. Sarah organized impromptu celebrations, scientists and artists united. To innovation. Champagne flowed freely, in all its forms. The antique microscope moved to our shared office, still bringing clarity. Some experiments change everything, some mistakes bring miracles. Ask any scientist about reactions, ask any artist about vision. Ask two women who chose love over fear. Tomorrow brings new adventures, new discoveries. But today we celebrate victory, where science met art, where love rewrote every rule. Looking back at that flea market morning, who knew? One microscope could change everything. One chance meeting could rewrite destiny. Some things can't be measured by science, can't be captured fully in art, but in the space between disciplines. In the moment between heartbeats. Love finds its own way, creates its own truth, writes its own story. Just like we did. Just like we'll keep doing. Together. Forever. The microscope catches sunset light, brass glowing like promises kept. Where past meets future. Where love meets legacy. Our revolution continues. Because some stories never really end. They just keep transforming. Like science. Like art. Like love itself. And isn't that the most beautiful experiment of all?